Deep in prehistory, before the rise of cities and kingdoms, our ancestors faced predators beyond imagination. Among them were colossal birds, fast, ruthless, and equipped with weapons nature had perfected over millions of years. Some were taller than men. Some could run faster than a horse. And some may have even hunted humans. When we think of predators, images of saber-toothed cats, giant bears, or crocodiles often come to mind. But in many corners of the world, it wasn't mammals or reptiles at the top of the food chain. It was birds. For millions of years, enormous flightless birds ruled open plains, forests, and islands. They were not the gentle ostriches or emus we know today. These were hunters, designed to kill. From South America's terror birds, to Australia's towering demon ducks, to the colossal Haast seagull of New Zealand. These giants stalked, chased, and sometimes ambushed prey as large as humans. Imagine walking through tall grass and instead of hearing the hiss of a snake, you hear the pounding footsteps of a 2-meter-tall bird racing toward you with a hooked beak strong enough to pierce bone. This was reality for early humans. The most infamous of these predators were the phorusrhacids, better known as terror birds. They lived in South America for nearly 60 million years, from the end of the dinosaurs' reign until about 2 million years ago. Standing up to 10 feet tall and weighing over 300 pounds, these birds could not fly. But they didn't need to. Their long legs allowed them to run at terrifying speeds, perhaps up to 40 miles per hour. Their beaks curved like battle axes, perfectly shaped to deliver bone-crushing blows. And their hunting strategy? Swift pursuit, sudden strikes, and rapid killing. Imagine being a small mammal or early primate in ancient South America. 1 second you're foraging for fruit. The next, a shadow falls over you, a bird taller than any human crashes forward, its beak striking like a guillotine. Terror birds were apex predators. Some species hunted prey as large as small horses. Others may have been ambush hunters, waiting silently before delivering fatal strikes. And while humans would not arrive in South America until much later, fossil evidence suggests that when people did appear, they may have encountered the last surviving terror birds. Stories of giant, man-eating birds whispered in ancient myths could be distant echoes of these encounters. Across the ocean, in prehistoric Australia, another monstrous bird reigned, Dromornis sturtoni, nicknamed the demon duck of doom. Despite its name, this creature was not a duck in the way we imagine today. It was a flightless giant, related to modern waterfowl but grown to impossible size. Standing over 10 feet tall and weighing nearly 1,000 pounds, it was one of the heaviest birds to ever walk the earth. Its skull was massive, its beak strong enough to crush branches or bones. For decades, paleontologists debated. Was the demon duck a herbivore, peacefully eating plants? Or was it a predator, using its size and crushing beak to overpower animals, maybe even humans? The answer may be both. Evidence suggests it could have been omnivorous, capable of eating anything it desired. And when humans arrived in Australia around 50,000 years ago, they would have encountered these colossal birds face to face. Imagine a hunting party of early Aboriginal people, spears in hand, suddenly realizing they were not the hunters, but the hunted. A demon duck, towering over them, rushing forward with unstoppable force. Legends of giant, man-eating birds still survive in Aboriginal oral traditions. Perhaps they are memories of Dromornis, passed down through thousands of years. If terror birds and demon ducks dominated the ground, then New Zealand's Haast eagle ruled the skies. This was the largest eagle to ever live. With a wingspan reaching 10 feet and talons the size of a tiger's claws, it was a true apex predator. Unlike most giant birds, Haast's eagle could fly. It lived on the South Island of New Zealand, hunting giant flightless moa birds, prey that could weigh over 500 pounds. To kill such massive animals, Haast's eagle evolved terrifying strength. Its claws could crush bone. Its beak could rip through flesh. And its hunting style was unlike anything alive today. From high above, the eagle would dive at speeds of nearly 50 miles per hour, slamming into its target with the force of a sledgehammer. The impact alone could knock a human to the ground. Then the eagle's talons would dig deep, pinning its victim, while the beak tore at the throat. When the first Polynesian settlers, the Māori, arrived in New Zealand around 700 years ago, they encountered both moa and Haast's eagle. For humans, the moa became food. But for Haast's eagle, humans became prey. Maori legends speak of a giant man-eating bird called Pouakai. It was said to swoop down and snatch people away. Many researchers now believe these legends describe the Haast's eagle. The idea of a bird large enough to hunt humans is not fantasy. It is history. Why did so many giant, dangerous birds evolve across different continents? The answer lies in timing. After the extinction of the dinosaurs, many ecosystems lacked large predators. Mammals were still small. Into this empty role stepped the birds. With no competition, they grew larger, faster, and more specialized as hunters. They filled niches left vacant by raptors and carnivorous dinosaurs. And for millions of years, they succeeded. But when humans entered the story, everything changed. From South America's terror birds, to Australia's demon ducks, to New Zealand's eagle that ate humans, our species has always lived in the shadow of winged giants. And in some cases, survival meant not only hunting them, but escaping from them. When humans spread across the globe, they did not only face lions, wolves, and crocodiles. They entered lands where giant birds were still dominant. And in those places, the line between hunter and hunted blurred. Imagine being among the first humans to set foot in South America. The land was full of unfamiliar creatures, giant ground sloths, saber-toothed cats, armored armadillos the size of cars, and the towering terror birds. Early human groups were small. They had stone tools, fire, and teamwork. But against a 10-foot predator with razor-sharp beaks, survival was uncertain. Some scientists believe humans may have played a role in the extinction of terror birds. But others argue the reverse may also be true, that terror birds killed many early humans, keeping their numbers low in certain regions. The truth is likely a combination. Our ancestors hunted the birds, but they also had to defend themselves from being hunted in return. In prehistoric Australia, humans and giant birds clashed dramatically. When Aboriginal people arrived more than 50,000 years ago, the land was home to Dromornis sturtoni, the demon duck of doom. Fossil sites suggest these massive birds survived for thousands of years after human arrival. This means early Australians lived side by side with them. Picture a small human camp. Children play near the fire. Hunters sharpen spears. But in the distance, shadows move immense shapes with beaks large enough to crush skulls. The demon ducks approach, not afraid of humans, but perhaps curious or hungry. Archaeological digs reveal burned Dromornis bones, suggesting humans ate them. But was this a desperate attempt at survival? Or revenge against predators that once attacked them? Legends preserved in Aboriginal stories describe enormous birds that hunted people. One such creature is known as the miharun, a word meaning giant bird. Some tales describe it as a man-eater. Such oral traditions may carry echoes of real encounters passed down across tens of thousands of years. Perhaps the most chilling evidence of humans hunted by giant birds comes from New Zealand. When the Māori arrived around the 13th century, they found a land untouched by humans. It was filled with giant moa birds, some standing 12 feet tall. And where there were moa, there were their predators, Haast's eagle. This eagle was unlike any raptor alive today. It was enormous, weighing up to 40 pounds with claws bigger than a human hand. Its hunting strategy was devastating. From high above, it would dive at extreme speeds, smashing into prey with bone-shattering force. For humans, the danger was real. Archaeological evidence shows moa bones with talon marks, deep cuts made by Haast's eagle. If the eagle could kill a 500-pound moa, it could certainly kill a 150-pound human. Maori oral tradition speaks of a monstrous bird called the Pouakai. It was feared as a man-eater, said to swoop down and carry people away. To outsiders, such stories may sound mythical. But given what we know about Haast's eagle, the Pouakai legend may be based in terrifying reality. Some researchers even suggest that attacks on humans directly contributed to the bird's fearsome reputation. Imagine gathering food in the forest, only to hear the scream of a bird of prey above. In seconds, claws as sharp as knives slam into your shoulders. The world goes black. For the eagle, you are no different than a moa. The idea of giant, man-eating birds is not limited to South America, Australia, or New Zealand. Cultures across the world tell similar stories, myths that may be rooted in real encounters with avian predators. In North America, Native American traditions speak of the thunderbird, a bird so vast that its wings created storms. Some versions describe it as predatory, capable of carrying away people. In the Middle East and South Asia, ancient tales describe the roc, a colossal bird said to snatch elephants into the sky. While exaggerated, the myth could be a distant memory of enormous eagles or vultures once more widespread. In Madagascar, the now extinct elephant bird grew over 10 feet tall and laid eggs larger than basketballs. Though likely not predatory, local legends warned of its dangerous strength. Some believe stories of giant birds in Arabian Nights were inspired by sailors' tales of Madagascar's elephant birds. These widespread myths raise a question. Did humans everywhere invent the idea of giant predatory birds? Or were many of these stories inspired by real creatures that no longer exist? Direct evidence of humans killed by giant birds is rare, but intriguing clues exist. In Argentina, fossil bones show signs of terror bird predation, deep cuts consistent with their hooked beaks. While these belong to other animals, it suggests the birds were active killers, not just scavengers. In New Zealand, human remains found near Haast's eagle territory show unusual injuries, some consistent with raptor attacks. While not definitive, the possibility remains. In Australia, Aboriginal rock art depicts enormous bird-like creatures attacking humans. Some researchers believe these may represent encounters with Dromornis or similar species. What we lack in bones, we find in stories. And often, oral traditions preserve truths that archaeology cannot yet confirm. Despite the risks, humans were not helpless. We had intelligence, cooperation, and weapons. When attacked, groups could drive away giant birds with fire and spears. Hunters learned to target weak spots, wings, legs, and eyes. Over time, humans turned the tables. The very birds that once hunted humans became prey. Eggs were stolen from nests. Chicks were captured before they grew strong. Adult birds were hunted for meat, feathers, and bones. This relentless pressure, combined with habitat changes, drove many giant bird species to extinction. The terror birds of South America, the demon ducks of Australia, the moa and Haast's eagle of New Zealand all vanished within the last 50,000 years. And the timing is no coincidence. Their disappearance followed closely after the arrival of humans. Even after these birds disappeared, the fear they inspired lingered. For thousands of years, people continued to tell stories of giant birds that hunted men. Parents warned children not to wander into forests, lest the bird spirit take them away. Hunters carved birds into stone, painted them on cave walls, and passed down legends through song. These stories were not simply entertainment. They were survival lessons, reminders of the predators that once ruled the skies and plains. They kept alive the memory of a time when humans were not the masters, but the hunted. Across continents, from South America to Oceania, humans lived in fear of giant birds. Some were chased. Some were killed. Some survived and passed on their stories. But eventually, humans grew stronger. And the birds, once lords of their lands, grew fewer. For millions of years, giant birds ruled the earth. They hunted, dominated, and even preyed on early humans. But today, they are gone. How did the most fearsome birds in history disappear? And could such creatures ever rise again? South America's terror birds reigned longer than almost any predator. From the extinction of dinosaurs until just a few million years ago, they were the undisputed rulers of the continent. But their downfall began when the world changed. Around 3 million years ago, the Isthmus of Panama rose from the sea, creating a land bridge between North and South America. Suddenly, new animals poured into South America: big cats, wolves, bears. The terror birds faced new competition. For the first time, mammals with sharp teeth and pack hunting strategies rivaled them. While some species clung on, the balance of power shifted. And when humans finally entered the continent tens of thousands of years later, the last terror birds were already rare. Within a short time, they were gone forever. The era of bird-dominated predators was ending. In Australia, the demon ducks survived for millions of years. Their sheer size made them nearly untouchable. But when humans arrived, everything changed. Aboriginal people hunted their eggs, burned grasslands, and disrupted ecosystems. A species that had once been the master of its environment suddenly faced an intelligent, organized rival. By around 45,000 years ago, the demon ducks vanished. Some scientists suggest climate change also played a role, shrinking food sources. But human pressure was the final blow. The giant shadows across the Australian plains disappeared. What remained were only memories, carried in oral tradition for thousands of years after the last bird fell. Of all giant predatory birds, Haast's eagle may have been the most recent to vanish. When the Māori arrived in New Zealand around the 13th century, the islands were full of giant moa birds. The eagle thrived, feasting on prey that outweighed it 10 times over. But humans hunted the moa relentlessly. Within a century, the moa were gone. And without their giant prey, Haast's eagle could not survive. By the 15th century, the Pouakai, the bird of legend, was extinct. The only record left was in bones buried in swamps, and stories passed down through generations. For the Māori, the eagle lived on in memory, a reminder of the danger that once lurked in the skies. Why did humans outlast these giants? The answer lies in intelligence. Giant birds had strength, speed, and size. But humans had fire, tools, strategy, and language. We learned to work together, to defend ourselves, to set traps and use weapons. We turned predators into prey. And slowly, step by step, humans rose from being hunted to being the hunters. The extinction of giant birds was part of a much larger pattern. Everywhere humans went, whether to Australia, New Zealand, or Madagascar, large animals vanished soon after. Not just birds, but mammoths, giant sloths, and saber-toothed cats. Humans became the new apex predator. The world shifted, and it has never been the same. The story of these birds raises a haunting question: could giant, human-hunting birds ever exist again? On one hand, evolution is unpredictable. If ecosystems allowed it, flightless birds could once again grow to immense sizes. Already, ostriches and emus show how powerful large birds can be. But the modern world is different. Humans dominate every habitat. Predators that grow too dangerous are quickly hunted down or driven away. A new terror bird would not last long in the age of rifles and cities. And yet, the idea fascinates us. In stories, in films, in myths, we still imagine birds large enough to snatch people from the ground. Some cryptid legends, like the thunderbird in North America, may reflect this ancient fear. It seems that deep in our minds, we still carry memories of the time when giant birds hunted us. Though the birds are gone, their shadow remains. In children's tales of monsters that snatch the unwary. In myths of winged beasts that blot out the sun. In our instinctive fear when a large bird of prey circles overhead. Science explains much of this. But fear is not always logical. Sometimes, it is inherited, passed down from ancestors who truly had to watch the skies. Even today, the largest eagles can kill goats, deer, and occasionally attack humans. They are tiny compared to Haast's eagle. But they remind us that nature's power is never far away. The bones of giant birds speak volumes about the world they once ruled. Terror bird skulls show deep scars where muscles once attached, proof of their powerful bite. Demon duck skeletons reveal thick bones built to support unimaginable weight. Haast's eagle claws are so massive that scientists once mistook them for those of a dinosaur. Each fossil is a warning from history. A reminder that Earth's past was full of creatures so fearsome they seem unreal. Yet they were real. And humans once looked into their eyes. With the fall of giant birds, humans took their place. But in doing so, we erased an entire chapter of Earth's natural history. What would the world look like if the terror birds still roamed the plains of South America? If demon ducks still thundered across Australia? If Haast's eagle still soared above New Zealand? Perhaps humans would live differently, in fortified camps, always watching the skies. Perhaps myths of winged death would not be legends, but daily warnings. Instead, the giants are gone. And the only predators left that hunt humans are ourselves. the story of the giant birds is not just about extinction. It is about survival, fear, and memory. They were once hunters of humans. But we endured, and they did not. Still, in every myth of a monstrous bird, in every shadow cast by a hawk or eagle, there is a whisper of the past. A reminder that once, not long ago, humans walked the earth in fear of wings.